Welcome to the explanation session, Model Test, SBI Clerk Mains 14633, RBI Assistants Mains 7640. The first 5 questions, questions 51 to 55, they deal with double fillers. I'll read the instructions, then I will go to the questions. In each of the following sentences, there are 2 blank spaces. Below the sentences, there are 5 options, and the blanks are to be filled with a pair of words given below to make the sentences correct. Fill up the sentences with the correct word, or words rather. Question number 51. As I said yesterday, do remember, whenever you try to handle questions related to double fillers, you have to use your grammar knowledge and take the elimination approach. Besides your grammar knowledge, do remember what is important here. Contextual awareness is important. So let us have a look at the questions. Question number 51. While the eager beavers, there is one idiomatic expression here, eager beavers. Who is an eager beaver? A person who is very enthusiastic to learn, who is very active, ready to learn, eager beaver. While the eager beavers sit in the front row, there are some who don't want to be. Mohan Sen, for instance, sits at the back of the room, away from Mrs. Chatterjee's line of something. This context goes with perhaps a classroom context. Let us have a look at the options. While the eager beavers sit in the front row, those are very enthusiastic about learning. They usually occupy the front row. There are some who don't want to be. For example, Mohan Sen, for instance, sits at the back of the room, away from Mrs. Chatterjee's line of. Perhaps Mrs. Chatterjee is a faculty member. What is the first option here? The first word is want. They don't want to be called. The word called is correct, but you have to consider the second word for the second blank. Away from Mrs. Chatterjee's line of approach. The word approach doesn't go with this context, so the first pair can be rejected. The second option, while the eager beavers sit in the front row, there are some who don't want to be beckoned. That's an important word. This paper is completely based on vocabulary. Today you're going to learn about 65 words, 66 rather to be precise. Beckon means to call someone closer to you using your head or gestures. Beckon, to call someone come closer to you. It seems right, hold that one. For instance, Mohan Sen, for instance, sits at the back of the room away from Mrs. Chatterjee's line of vision. This goes with the classroom context, vision, the faculty member's vision. So hold the second option. We'll have a look at the third option. Who don't want to be reckoned. The word reckoned, what does it mean? Reckon means to be of the opinion, to have some opinion, to think. I reckon, they reckon, means what? To think. So it is not correct in this context. And border, line of border is not at all right, not at all correct. It doesn't go with the context. You may ask, sir, how can you say it is right, it is wrong? There are 2 reasons. One reason, grammar approach. Another based on grammar. The second, based on the context. I always prefer contextual awareness, and I take the elimination approach based on contextual awareness. That will help you in the long run. Some questions, of course, you have to use your grammar knowledge. That will save your time, but not all the questions. So border doesn't go with this context, so it is rejected. They don't want to be, or who don't want to be noticed. This word is right. But what is the second word? From Mrs. Chatterjee's line of reach, it is the faculty member can see all the students. Then we use the word vision. We don't use the word reach. Based on the second word, you can reject the fourth option. They don't want to be, or who don't want to be seen. This is also right. The first word is correct. And what is the second word here? From Mrs. Chatterjee's line of power. The word power doesn't go with this context, so it is not correct. So what is the answer? The second option is the answer. Here your grammar knowledge doesn't help, in my opinion. You have to know the meanings of these words. You have to know the context. Only then you will be able to get the correct option. Question number 52. This is a little difficult, not easy. She remained away from handling the relatively IT department for over a year before getting accounts in July last. The context talks about remained away, avoiding something, or not being in the limelight. Already the word limelight has been used here. She remained away from the attention. From the attention, this word is correct. Remained away from the attention, handling the relatively latent IT department. This word is not correct. What is the meaning of the word latent? Latent means hidden, concealed. So it doesn't go with this context. It doesn't go with IT department. She remained away from the spotlight. This is an important word. Spotlight, usually it goes with movies and shooting. What is a spotlight? A spotlight is a lamp that focuses a narrow beam of light. So it doesn't go with this context. Reject the second pair. What is the meaning of the word enigmatic? Enigmatic means mysterious, something you cannot understand, something that is mysterious. What are the typical combinations? Enigmatic smile, enigmatic person, enigmatic behavior. Means what? Mysterious behavior. Not correct. Limelight, this is an important word. Some issue is in the limelight. Today, everyone talks about coronavirus, the impact of that, the outbreak of coronavirus. Then we say coronavirus is in the limelight. The impact of coronavirus is in the limelight. Means what? Of public attention. Everyone talks about that. Something is in the limelight, someone is in the limelight. That means everyone talks about that thing or that person. Away from the limelight, that seems right. Handling the relatively obscure. This is also an important word. Obscure means not known about. The typical combinations: obscure artist, obscure painter, obscure writer, obscure place, not known to a lot of people. This pair seems right. Hold this one. She remained away from the noticed handling. That is not grammatically correct. Here your grammar knowledge helps. One option. Ambiguous means what? Not clear, vague. And perception. Away from the perception. Perception has two different meanings. One meaning, perception means the ability to see or listen or feel, a natural gift. But perception also means a belief or something you trust, the perception, the belief. So it is not relevant here. Reject this also. Vague also means not clear. Vague, not clear. So what is the answer? The third option is the answer. She remained away from the limelight, from public attention, the focus of public attention, handling the relatively obscure. Obscure means what? Not known. IT department for over a year before getting accounts in July last. From these two questions, you can learn about 10 words. I'm going to show the meanings of all these words at the fag end of the session. Don't worry about the meanings. Now you can listen to the meanings. While explaining, I will give the meanings. But at the fag end of the session, I'm going to show all the 66 words with the meanings, about 3 slides, and that will enrich your vocabulary. Question number 53. The government was fed up. Fed up, that's an important expression. I got fed up. I got irritated. And fed up means what? To get irritated, to find something disgusting, irritating, or frustrating. The government was fed up with constant, underline this word is a clue for you, generated by her, and it felt at every controversy she created. Here there's a clue, controversy. Again, in one of the options, you see the word controversies. Do remember that. We'll check each pair. The government was fed up with constant strife. Strife means conflict. At this stage, you listen to me. I will tell the word, I'll tell the meaning, and all the words in orange color, important words, effective English, effective vocabulary. You can listen to me, the meaning of the word, I will say the meaning. But at the fag end of the session, I'm going to show the meanings. Don't worry about the meanings. First stage, you listen and try to grasp the focus on the context. The government was fed up with constant strife, means what? Conflict, generated by her, and is felt hindered at every controversy she created. Hinder means to block, to prevent. It doesn't go with the constant strife. Constant, the word takes the noun in the plural form. But here, strife is in the singular form. Grammatically, if you don't know the meaning also, you cannot consider the first option. It is not correct. Constant issues, plural, seems right. And it felt neglected. government has to neglect someone, government does not get neglected. This is not correct based on the word neglected. Constant fights, again the noun in the plural form, seems right. Constant fights generated, but generally fights they go with individuals and countries, not between an individual and the government. Rare, very rare. And what is the second word here? Otherwise also you cannot consider the third option. Embraced, that's an important word. Embrace means to accept a new idea, a new thought, a policy. Embraced at every controversy she created. The word doesn't go with this context. What is the fourth option? With constant protests generated by her, and it felt ashamed at every controversy she created. The government does not feel ashamed. Ashamed, I felt ashamed, she felt ashamed, he felt ashamed. Ashamed goes with individuals. What is the meaning of the word ashamed? To be embarrassed, to feel a little uncomfortable, ashamed about your behavior, about your actions. So not relevant based on the context. The fifth option, the government was fed up with constant controversies. The word controversy, controversies, and generated by her, and it felt what? Embarrassed at every controversy she created. Uncomfortable at every controversy she created. Based on this, what is the answer? The fifth option is the answer. All said and done, not easy. But if you know the context, you are exposed to a similar context, and you have an idea about this context, it becomes rather easy. You will be able to eliminate a lot of options. Question number 54. The press release was issued by the INB Ministry, Information and Broadcasting Ministry, which had the guidelines and sought to punish journalists by cancelling their, if found circulating, fake news. Fake, not real. Which had formed the guidelines, seems right. It cancelling their license, this also seems right. I don't say it is right. Modified, which had modified the guidelines, that also seems right. Prescription, this is not correct. Prescription goes with doctors. Which had changed the guidelines, this seems right. Affiliation, what is the meaning of the word affiliation? To be associated with someone or something, some organization. Affiliation to some organization. Not changed, right? But affiliation, cancelling their affiliation, not correct. It goes with journalists. Do remember the context is very important. Amended. Amend means what? To make changes. The press release was issued by the INB, Information and Broadcasting Ministry, which had amended the guidelines and sought to punish journalists by cancelling their accreditation. That's an important word. Accreditation means being officially recognized or being recognized officially. This pair seems right, hold that one. Which had rectified the guidelines. Guidelines we don't rectify. Rectify means what? Correct. And by cancelling their approval. Cancelling their approval, that is not correct. So what is the answer? The fourth option is the answer. Which had amended, made changes related to the guidelines and sought to punish journalists by cancelling their accreditation. Means what? Accreditation means being officially recognized. Again, there are about 9 words here which are very important. You will get the meanings at the fag end of this session. Question number 55. 12 people are killed after a flyover under construction collapsed in Varanasi on Tuesday. Many vehicles are buried under the bridge near the railway station in cantonment. 12 people are hardly killed. We don't say hardly killed. Hardly has a negative connotation. Here it talks about a major mishap or a major accident where 12 people got killed. So we cannot use the word hardly. Based on that, this is rejected. And demolished the bridge. Demolish goes with buildings, means what? Destroy. Demolish the building means destroy the building, to pull down the building. So this is also not correct. 12 people are badly killed. We don't say badly killed, badly injured, badly affected, severely injured. So it is not correct. And deformed bridge, deform, change the shape. This is also not relevant here. Peered killed. If you read the newspapers, quite often you come across this expression. 12 people are peered killed after a flyover under construction collapsed in Varanasi on Tuesday. Many vehicles are buried under the collapsed bridge. Which bridge? Collapsed bridge. This also seems right. Hold that one. Drastically are drastically killed. Drastically means severely. Drastically killed, severely injured. We don't say severely killed. Not correct. And the weak bridge, that is also not correct. Completely killed. There's nothing like partially killed or completely killed. This is not correct. And broken bridge, no. So what is the answer? Peered killed or peered dead. Another typical expression that goes with the newspapers. 12 people are peered dead. 12 people are peered killed. And collapsed bridge. That is also right. Answer is the third option. There are three words here: demolished, collapsed, drastically. Those 5 questions are rather easy, should not be a problem, but you got to be good at contextual awareness. Questions, the next set of questions, 56 to 60, what do they deal with? Synthesis. Synthesis means what? This is an important aspect or important thing when it comes to exams. Synthesis. You see 2 or 3 sentences and you see either, there are 2 models when it comes to synthesis. One model, you see conjunctions, these are rather easy. Another model, you see phrases, how to combine. These are also known as connectors. But I would rather go for the word synthesis. Synthesize means what? Create. You see 2 parts or 2 sentences, 2 clauses. Using the connectors, using the conjunctions, you have to create a new sentence, and then we call it synthesized sentence. Create. What is the opposite of synthetic? Synthetic means created, opposite natural. Let us have a look at the first question related to synthesis. Question number 56. What is a connecting word here, or link word, or conjunction? Although. First you have to know the function of the word although. Although expresses contrast. There is one more word, though. A lot of students ask me, sir, what is the difference between although and though? Both express a contrast, but although usually comes at the beginning of a sentence. Exceptions are there. Though may come at the beginning or in the middle. Although is a little more formal than though. Let us have a look at, when here you see 4 sentences, first you have to identify which 2 sentences are related. I try very hard not to force issues. I find it very difficult to avoid them. These 2 are related, but you have to connect these 2. Although I try very hard not to force issues. The noun, I find it very difficult to avoid them. Here the noun is in the plural form. The pronoun talks about a plural pronoun, third person plural. So, contrasting situation. What is the contrast here? I try very hard not to force issues, although I find it very difficult to avoid them. So, 1 and 2 seem right. Hold this pair. It was strange being in Quinn's room. The only remnants of him were his machines. There's an important word here, a remnant. A remnant singular, remnants plural. What does it mean? A remnant means a small piece of something that remains after the major part has been destroyed. There was a major part, a major thing that has been destroyed. After the destruction, a small piece remains. For that we use the word a remnant. These 2 seem to be related. Let us give it a try. Although it was strange being in Quinn's room, the only remnants of him were his machines. This also seems right. And which option says 1 and 2 and 3 and 4? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Based on that, what is the answer? The third option is the answer. It was strange being in Quinn's room, although the only remnants of him were his machines. We don't know the exact context. This is not a familiar context. This one is rather easy, but this one a bit difficult. Intellectually speaking, when you don't have the background information, when it doesn't go with the regular situations, it is a bit difficult to handle that particular question. Still, this is a bit difficult. Still, yet. Usually, when I teach adverbs, these could be conjunctions, these could be adverbs. What is the difference? Still goes with affirmative sentences, yet goes with interrogative and negative interrogative sentences. For example, we are still in the same office, affirmative. The train hasn't come yet, negative. Haven't you posted the letter yet, negative interrogative. That is the difference between still and yet, you have to recollect. Alex had presented the issue as responsibility. Field inspection, consultants not related, not money. So 1 and 4, they seem to be related. 1 and 4, I'll tick here. But we have to combine these two. Still, we don't know the background information. Still, let us start with the word still. Still, Alex had presented the issue as responsibility, not money. As what? Responsibility, not as money, as is understood here. So 1 and 4, they seem right. And here, field inspection will be conducted and status reports will be prepared. The consultants will deploy their staff in the city within a month. We cannot relate to these two, though they seem related. We cannot join these two with the word still. They don't go with, the word still doesn't go with the two sentences. That means what? Only 1 and 4 seem right, and there's no option like 1 and 4 and 2 and 3. I don't see that option. Answer has to be 1 and 4. Which option is that? The fourth option is the answer. And there's one important word here, deploy. Deploy means move into position, place in position. Usually it goes with police, soldiers, army. Whenever there is a disturbed situation in a particular city, clashes between ethnic groups, then the police are deployed or the soldiers are deployed. That's an important word. But also talks about contrast. This is an easy one. In business transactions, Alex was frugal with his money. There's one important word here, frugal. Frugal goes with how you spend money. It talks about nature of spending money. Someone is very careful, spends money sparingly, thinks twice before spending. Then we use the word frugal. In business transactions, Alex was frugal with his money, careful with his money. But when it came to his family, he was generous. So these two are related, 1 and 2, and absolutely no problem, you can use the word but. But contrasting expression, contrasting situation. Frugal here, generous here. But when it came to his family, he was generous. She was dull and inattentive. But here we start with I. Someone has made a statement. What is that statement? I tried hard to teach her my sign language, but she was dull and inattentive. You have to start with first person singular, I. I tried to do something. Do what? I tried hard to teach her my sign language, but she was dull and inattentive. That means what? 4 and 3. Which option says 1 and 2 and 4 and 3? 1 and 2 and 4 and 3. Answer is the fifth option. Instead, this is very difficult, not at all easy. As per the agreement, the consultancy will have the responsibility of planning, designing, and management of each project. The contract period is for the next 3 years. Instead, it doesn't go with, though these two seem to be related, 1 and 3, but you cannot use the word instead. He assisted her, his lips seeking hers urgently all the while instead. Now, how does it go? 4 and 2. Which option says 4 and 2? The first option. How does the sentence go? He assisted her, comma, his lips seeking hers urgently all the while instead. The word instead should come at the end of the sentence. Then the answer is the first option, 4 and 2. That is very difficult. Do remember when it comes to synthesis, either conjunctions or link words or phrases, I've seen thousands of students, they find synthesis or questions related to synthesis very difficult. In fact, they are difficult. Why are they difficult? One of the reasons, students are not, many candidates, it's a general statement, They're not good at conjunctions. They're not good at link words, one problem. And when it comes to phrases, they find those phrases very difficult within the stipulated time period, not easy to handle. But all said and done, if you focus on the context and if you have a fair idea about the link words, you will get out of 5 at least 3. Then you should be happy. Trying to get all the 5 when it comes to synthesis is rather ambitious in my opinion, not practically possible. Question number 60, though. Though also talks about contrast. I've said that already. He actually smiled, though it was so brief that she questioned whether she had imagined it. Straight away you can try these two. He actually smiled, though it was so brief that she questioned whether she had imagined it. It stands for his smile. 1 and 2 seem right. I encountered some severe storms. I was never cast away nor distressed in any weather. Distress, to be under distress means under stress in some problem. So that's an important word. You'll see the meaning later. And pain, distress also means pain. You have to start with 4th one. I was never cast away nor distressed in any weather, though I encountered some severe storms. So what is the answer based on that? Both 1 and 2 and 4 and 3. Answer is the third option. Parajumbles. Parajumbles, I told yesterday also, not yesterday, day before yesterday. Parajumbles. Para means the short form for paragraph. Jumble, to shuffle the sentences. Here they take a paragraph, they shuffle the sentences. You have to get the correct order. But here you see 5 questions. Usually students find one question related to parajumbles difficult, but here, that way this paper is rather tough. There are 5 questions. All the 5 deal with parajumbles, but you have the options. You have to be a little smart. You get the first sentence, see how many options begin with that particular part, and then you take elimination approach. You can get, you may come across 2 options which start with that particular part. Then you have to decide one of the 2. I told the other day how to eliminate, what is the elimination approach to get the first sentence. Any sentence that begins with a preposition like this, for the entire length of the concert, the entire length of the concert, the definite article the, then it cannot be the first sentence. The 3-day the Hindu November fest opened. This seems the first one, hold this one. The stunningly gifted cannot be the first sentence. The auditorium was jam-packed cannot be the first sentence. Masters would unfold. Masters would unfold, it stopped abruptly. Cannot be the first sentence. So what is the first sentence here? B is the first sentence. Oh, so almost all the options are there with B. Not easy then. The 3-day, the Hindu November fest. Fest means an important activity or gathering that focuses on a particular activity. The 3-day, the Hindu November fest opened with classical and beyond, a coming together of the stars of Hindustani music. That is the first statement. B is the first one. And what is the second one? Here it is easy to get the second one. The auditorium, because the fest obviously talks about music, we need an auditorium. The auditorium was jam-packed with an attentive and benevolent audience. Benevolent means kind and helpful. Benevolent audience sitting with undiminished enthusiasm, not reducing. Diminish means reduce. Undiminished enthusiasm. And continuation, this is not complete. Enthusiasm for the entire length of the concert in anticipation of what these great. So here, first one is what? B is the first one and D is the second one. After that, with undiminished enthusiasm for the entire length of the concert. Concert means a music program, either vocal or instrumental, in anticipation. Anticipate, to think of the future. It also means to predict of what these great, these plural, these great maestros, How do you pronounce this word? Maestro. So maestros, Tawfiq Qureshi. Here, this is the third one, and this is the fourth one. The list continues. The stunningly gifted 𝐒𝐃𝐈𝐀 Chakraborty, actually we say Chakraborty, Bengalis say Chakraborty. The extraordinary Satyajit Talwalkar, Rakesh Chaurasia, Prabhayan Chatterjee, and Sudhanshu Gharpure. So that is the last part. What is the last part here? C is the last part. So what is the answer based on that? B is the first one. What is the second one? D is the second one. A is the third one. E is the fourth one. And C is the last one. Answer is the fourth option. But all said and done, do remember, it is not possible to get these para-jumbles. One itself, you got to spend a lot of time. Here you have to deal with 5 of them. And the time period, the stipulated time, within the stipulated time period. What is the time you get in the exam for para-jumbles? Hardly a minute or two. Within a minute or within 2 minutes to handle so many para-jumbles under pressure, not practically possible. If you ask me, so what are we supposed to do? My suggestion, if you are really good at English, handle the para-jumbles, 5 of them. But if you're not good at English, you're not good at comprehension, you're not good at context, different contexts, then not advisable, not at all advisable. You have to avoid questions related to para-jumbles. This one is rather easy. Scriptures, what does it mean? The writings in the holy books, scriptures, holy books or inscriptions. Scriptures have always perceived the holistic value pervading creation and speak of the close ties between human beings and nature, and of the need to live in harmony with the environment. Drawing from these and taking into account the body-mind complex that constitutes each human being, the wise have shown that the most precious gifts for an individual are water, food, and good advice, pointed out Velukudi Sri Krishnan in a discourse. Religious teaching is known as discourse. Holistic, you consider someone or something as a whole. You regard someone or something as a whole. Water and food are for the upkeep of the body, and good advice, VIC is a noun, VISC is a verb. You have to recollect that. Shubhashitani, for the welfare of the Atma. Good advice helps one to remain healthy in both mind and body. Indian schools of thought have given much thought to explain the nature and function of the human mind. It is seen as an instrument endowed with the functions to think, decide, and act. Endow means gift, gifted with. Not at all easy, but the answer is A, B, C, D, E. Same order, but practically impossible to get this under pressure within a short time of a minute or 2 minutes. This is rather easy. The context talks about someone who has lost the war and someone who lost his hope, and taking the inspiration from a particular animal, not mentioned, but it talks about a spider. Then he gets back his confidence and fights and wins the battle. So how does it start? On March 25, 1306, it happened in the 14th century. What happened? Robert the Bruce became the king of Scotland. King Edward of England waged war against him and made him an outlaw. Wage has 2 meanings. As a noun, it means wages, the amount you pay to the workers. But here, wage means to carry on, to continue. Wage war means what? To have war with someone. Waged war against him and made him an outlaw. Outlaw could be a noun, could be a verb. Outlaw as a verb means to prohibit, to ban. A person, then we call the person, he is an outlaw. How many options begin with E? Almost all the options. Then it is not easy. Then it goes to the legend. Legend means what? It has 2 different meanings. One meaning, legend means a traditional story. Another meaning, he is a legend, means what? It means a person who is part of the fables, a person historically respected, considered very superior. He is a legend, means a person with extraordinary power. Legend has it that he was close to despair. Who was close? He means the person who has been made him an outlaw. King Edward of England waged war against him. That means Robert the Bruce became the King of Scotland. So, legend has it that he was close to despair. That's an important word. Despair means lose hope. And hiding in a cave during a storm when he saw an animal, actually it is a spider, in the process of building something. That means what? EA. How many options are there? 2 options. What is the next one? It tried 6 times. Animal, here continuity of thought. It tried 6 times and failed. That means what? B. C is the next one. Give me a minute. Legend has it that he was close to despair. EA and B. It should be B. EAB. Second option. E is the first one. I'll write here. A is the second one. I'll write here. And what is the third one? It tried. It stands for the animal. It tried 6 times and failed, and he realized he too had fought against English 6 times and failed. This is the third sentence. EAB. And after that, on the 7th attempt, it succeeded. It talks about the same animal. That is the 4th one. D is the 4th one. And what is the last one? This inspired him to continue fighting the English, and he eventually won in 1314. This is the last one. So what is the answer based on that? The second option is the answer. This is again very difficult under pressure. Yoga, it talks about yoga. I'm doing it fast because I can't spend a lot of time on these parajumbles. So many are there. Usually one we can explain elaborately, but 5 of them, not easy. It takes a lot of time. So yoga, what is this about yoga? And what is the second sentence? But asanas, yoga, yogasanas, they're related. How many options are there with BE? There's only one option, that is the answer. And what is the third one? One is B is the first one, E is the second one, and D is the third one. It talks about the movement, becomes mechanical because our brain learns movement patterns. And what is the fourth one? Again, it talks about the movement, related sentences. And what is the last one? It talks about contrasting information. But awareness is the key to sustaining transformation. It all talks about awareness. Answer is the first option. There are 2 words here. One is sustaining. Sustain means to hold. In this context, it means to continue transformation. What is the other word here? Potential. Latent ability. Potential is an important word. This is rather easy, should not be a problem. How does it, what is the first sentence? It cannot be the first sentence. Even cannot be the first sentence. That allows cannot be the first sentence. I think it shook. It cannot be the first sentence. So what is the first sentence here? When Nirbhaya happened, it shook something in me. E. So many options begin with E. I think it shook. Here it shook. Related sentences or pairs of sentences. A pair of 2 sentences. Obviously 2. When Nirbhaya happened, it shook something in me. I think it shook the collective conscience of the nation. I started looking at the culture. So what is the second one? ED. How many options are there? Only one option. And what is the third one? Culture that allows men to think and do whatever they pleased with a woman, to her body, mind and thoughts, or psyche. Psyche means the human mind, spirit, or thinking. Not psyche. And answer is obviously C, B. Even when the laws were made more stringent in India, it did not deter. It did nothing to deter. Deter means to prevent, discourage crimes against women. It made me want to dig into culture to get a grasp of men's thinking process. So BA. What is the first sentence here? E. Second is D. Third one is C. Fourth is B. And the last one is A. E, D, C, B, A. These words are very important. Grasp means to understand. Stringent means very strict. Deter, to prevent or to discourage. psyche, the human spirit or the human mind, conscience, moral sense of what is right and what is wrong, a moral sense of right and wrong. All are really difficult, and my suggestion, if you come across these a set of questions related to para jumbles, take those questions to the fag end of the session. Answer other questions, still you get some time, then you work on those 5 para jumbles, and usually all the 5 may not be difficult, may not be tough. At least 1 or 2, you spend a few minutes, you will be able to get. Try to get 1 or 2 out of 5. Then 1 mark is also important. Unfortunately, double pillars repeated. Questions 66 to 70. We have seen 5 questions already related to double pillars. Same questions have been repeated. So I don't want to spend time on those 5 questions. We have done already. Now questions 71 to 80. What are these about? These are related to the passage. And let us see the instructions. Read the paragraph, not paragraph, actually passage, carefully and answer the questions given below them. Certain words are given in bold to help you to locate them while answering some questions. Yesterday took a lot of time. Still, I would like to read out the passage, and wherever I come across important words, I would like to give the meanings. The central government's framework for 20 cities to become smart over a 5-year period can cover new ground if it makes intelligent use of information technology to deliver better civic services. This passage is all about smart cities, the central government's initiative. It starts with what happened in the past. What happened in the past, the development, urbanization, modernization, it happened haphazardly, not in a systematic way. Rules were not followed, and no one thought of the rules and regulations. No one focused on implementation. Because of that, a lot of people, they went against the rules and regulations, and they went in for haphazard development or constructions in a haphazard manner. And the result of that, congested cities and a lot of associated problems. Later what happened, the government regularized all the violations later. That is very unfortunate. And what is the result or what is the impact of that? Because the government regularized the violations, today we come across in major cities like Chennai, Bombay, Delhi, even Hyderabad, we come across chaotic situations. Whenever it rains, especially during a monsoon time, almost all these cities, they experience what we call a new phenomenon, urban floods. Urban floods because of these factors. The passage talks about all these factors. Now the government wants to change that situation with the initiative of smart cities. So let us have a look at the other sentences. A rapid and poorly regulated urbanization has overwhelmed to have a lot of impact emotionally on someone. Urban governments, but here it has a different connotation. A render means what? To give, to present, or to make something. Rendering them incapable of providing even basic services such as clean water, sewerage. Sewerage. They both mean the same. What is the meaning of that? It means waste or excrement. Pedestrian-friendly roads, public transport, uninterrupted power, street lighting, parks, and recreational spaces. All these go with urbanization, modernization, and city development. But all these have been affected because of unregulated urbanization. That's what the sentence talks about. So weak and uncoordinated is governance that commercial entities have willfully, that's an important word, willfully means deliberately or intentionally, violated building regulations and put up unauthorized structures. They constructed unauthorized structures with severe impact on congestion. That's an important word. Congestion means crowded and blocked. Air quality and flood management, and governments have gladly regularized the violations later. Very unfortunate, they did not follow the rules, and they exploited the loopholes in the law, and later what happened, the government gladly regularized the violations. That is really, because of that today we have a lot of problems in all these major cities, metropolitan cities. The smart city plan now proposes to intervene. That's an important word. Intervene means to interfere or to get into action so as to stop or prevent something unpleasant or unwanted event or consequences. Intervene and bring some order by upgrading the physical infrastructure in select enclaves. That's an important word, enclave. In this context, it means in a city, a particular area that is unique and that is rather different, enclave. In a way, it goes with gated communities or isolated and unique area. It goes with a city and a town. And incentivizing the use of information and communication technologies. Urban Development Minister Mr. �W𝐿𝐿𝐼𝐀𝐿 Naidu has come up with a generalized definition. Whatever you see in green, based on this, there is a question, and when we go to questions, try to recollect this particular sentence. Mr. 𝐿𝐿𝐼𝐀𝐿 Naidu has come up with a generalized definition of a smart Indian city as one that enables a decent life to the citizens and green and sustainable environment, besides enabling adoption of smart solutions. But the exercise should lead to measurable outcomes. That's an important statement. And the key word here, generalized definition of a smart Indian city. The first batch of smart cities would create virtually new business districts in several cities, marking a departure from the disaggregated urban development witnessed over the past few decades. This area-based development approach makes it imperative, that's an important word, imperative means crucial, vital, important, that the resulting demand for mobility to and from the smart area be made an integral part of the plan with an emphasis on walkability, use of non-motorized transport, and access to public transport. All these are positive dimensions related to smart cities. Then he talks about the response of the different cities. Ahmedabad and Bhubaneswar have shown high ambition by opting for a common travel card. Others such as Indore, Davangere and Belagavi plan intelligent transport solutions, something that has been unattainable, difficult to attain, difficult to achieve for even a big metro such as Chennai. Based on this, two questions have been asked. Remember, although it enjoys high visibility, the Smart City program is merely a framework for urban development aided by the centre with a small initial seed fund of rupees 500 crore, while additional finances have to come from public-private partnerships and local revenue. This talks about the financial aspect. State governments, including those left out of the first list, could unlock the potential of all cities with development policies that aim at structural change. Improved public transport, for instance, has an immediate positive impact on the local economy. It talks about public transport. Technologies such as GPS to inform passengers in real time on their mobile phones and common ticketing, increasing the efficiency of transport use. Increase the efficiency of transport use. Universal design in public buildings and streets would help all people, including those with disabilities. All these are the positive aspects, and when you use technology, what happens? These sentences talk about the advantages based on use of technology. The challenge for smart cities 1.0 is to provide proof of concept quickly and make outcomes sustainable. Sustainable practices, what does it mean? You use the resources in such a way that the future generations will also get benefited. Using the resources thinking of the future, we use the word sustainable. Care also needs to be taken that the effect is not to create gated communities of best practices and civic upgrade in a wider landscape of urban distress. It is crucial that these urban enclaves cater to the housing, health, education, and recreation needs of a wide cross-section of society, and that the converge means what? To get united, of the Smart Cities program with existing urban renewal projects countrywide be smooth. They should make sure that the convergence between the existing urban projects and the new smart city projects, they should get converged That's what it talks about. That's all about the passage, an interesting passage. It has been in the limelight. Now let us have a look at the questions. Question number 71. Which city is finding it difficult to implement intelligent transport system? Clearly mentioned in the passage, Chennai, though a metropolitan city, finds it, in the passage you come across the word, Chennai finds it unattainable. Unattainable means what? Difficult to achieve. This question talks about which city is finding it difficult to implement. So answer is obviously Chennai, and this question is based on explicit information, means mentioned in the passage, direct information, easy to answer. What is the appropriate title for the passage? This is a bit difficult. Giving cities a smart edge seems right, hold that one. Urbanization, a reality, not correct. Smart cities, an area-wise development approach, seems right, mentioned in the passage. Smart cities are distant to dream, not correct. None of the above. You have to decide between 1 and 3. But here, it is all about giving cities a smart edge. It's all about giving the cities a smart edge, making cities smart. Based on that, what is the answer? The first option is the answer. What is a generalized definition of smart city? If you remember in the passage, while I was explaining, while I was reading out, I mentioned the words in green color, the sentences in green color. Questions are being asked based on those ideas or points. So Mr. Venkaiah Naidu made a statement about a smart city, smart Indian city. That was a generalized definition. So what is a generalized definition of smart city as given by Mr. Venkaiah Naidu? That time he was the minister. Now he is the vice president. Enables a decent life to citizens. Right? One with a green and sustainable environment. This is also correct. Smart and advanced solutions. This is also correct. None of the above not correct. Answer is fourth option, all of the above. Now you see 6 words, 3 of them related to antonyms and 3 of them related to synonyms. The first set, 74, 75, 76, they deal with opposite. Imperative. Imperative means what? Something essential, primary, indispensable. Opposite, not essential, not primary, not indispensable, not crucial, not vital. Then we say secondary. Answer is secondary. Inescapable, not relevant. Crucial, same meaning, important, imperative, crucial, vital. Hanging by thread, not relevant here. So answer is the first option. Rendering. Render means to present, to give, to perform. The key says the first option, but in my opinion, it is the fifth option, none of the above. It is not misunderstanding, it is not explanation, it is not realization, it is not comprehension. Comprehend means understand. Comprehension, understanding. Reading comprehension skill means what? Reading, when you read a piece of text, you should have the skill to understand. Convergence. Converge means what? To get united, to get combined. Concurrence. Concurrence meaning, one of the meanings, agreement. That is not right, and don't consider this. And synchronism. He wants the opposite. Concurrence, agreement, and synchronism. Happening at the same time, that is also not correct. Confluence, an act of merging. Usually it goes with rivers. 2 rivers get merged. We call that the point of confluence. Not correct. Answer is converge, unite, opposite, divide. Fourth option is the answer. Because here the questions talk about opposite meaning. The next 3 questions ask similar meaning, synonyms. What is the first one? Sustainable. Sustainable practices. As I said, sustainable practices means what? You use the resources in such a way that the future generations can also use the same resources. Using the resources, thinking of the future generations, we use the expression sustainable practices. When you go in for sustainable practices, things remain there. They are still there, they don't disappear. What is the first word here? Imperishable. Perish, likely to get decayed, likely to get spoiled, and likely to get affected. Imperishable, opposite. These two are related. Unendurable, negative word. Here, sustainable is a positive word. Based on that, you have to select a positive word. Perishable, negative word. Likely to get decayed or spoiled, rotten. Unendurable, endurable, it lasts for a long time. Opposite, unendurable, negative word, not correct. Temporary, not correct. So, what is the answer? Sustainable, imperishable. Please excuse me. So, answer is the first option, imperishable. Urbanization. Urbanization, again, I'm not quite convinced with the key. The key says fifth option, all of the above. No doubt, urbanization goes with sophistication. Sophistication, sophisticate. A person who is sophisticated. Sophisticated means urbanized, civilized, polished, cultured. Metropolitanized, this is also right. Downtown. Downtown means the busiest marketplace of a city. Urbanization, this also goes with urbanization. But immunization, I am not convinced with this word, but still it could be one of the meanings related to urbanization. So answer all of the above. But in my opinion, urbanization, the best word here, the second option, sophisticate, means what? Cultured, civilized, polished, all these words could be used. Renewal, to renew something, easy word. Reclamation, reclaim, from reclaim you get reclamation, means what? To claim something back. Renewal, to get something back. Delayed, not correct. Damage, not correct. Break, not correct. Here you need a positive word. All these are negative words. Delayed, damage, break, destroy. Destroy also means damage to a great extent. So what is the answer based on that? 79, option 1 is the answer. Which of the following is not true? You got to be very careful when you come across questions related to true or not true. Here it is not true. Ahmedabad and Bhubaneswar have shown high ambition and dynamism by opting for a common travel card. That is true. Which of the following is not true from the passage? This is true. You have to go through all these. Technologies such as GPS to inform passengers in offline mode on their mobile phones and common ticketing increase the efficiency of transport use. This is also true. This is also true. Rapid and poorly regulated urbanization has overwhelmed urban governments, rendering them incapable. This is also true. Although it enjoys high visibility, the Smart City program is merely a framework. This is also true. So what is the answer? Again, a problem with the key. The key says the first option, but it is true. The question is, which of the following is not true from the passage? None of the above. All are true. Answer is the fifth option. Spot the errors. This paper, to a great extent, I can say it is based on vocabulary. There are about 66 words worth learning. Besides, it is based on grammar. How many questions based on grammar? 10 questions. Spot the errors. Have a look at, let me read the instructions. In each of the questions given below, a sentence is given, which is then divided into 5 parts, out of which one part is incorrect. Rather easy. You must choose the grammatically incorrect part as your answer. Meanwhile, in an effort to keep its flock together, the party heard its elected party men and 2 independent legislators to a resort on the outskirts of the city. Not easy. Heard, it could be a noun, it could be a verb. As a noun, it means group of animals or group of people. As a verb, it means push or move people or groups of animals in a particular direction into something. Meanwhile, in an effort to keep its flock together, the party heard its elected partymen and 2 independent legislators to a resort on the outskirts of the city. There is an error in the second part. It is not heard. As a verb, it should be hearded. It should be in the past form. Not at all easy. Meanwhile, in an effort to keep its flock together, the party herded, moved its elected partymen and two independent legislators to a resort on the outskirts of the city. So, what is the answer? B. Third option is the answer. But herd, remember, it goes with animals. It also goes with people, group of animals, hoofed animals actually, group of people. But as a verb, here it has been used as a verb. The context is past. The verb should be in the past form. It's a regular verb. Herd, herded, herded. So the context is past. The verb is not in the past form. So it is not correct. Herded is correct. Not at all easy. Because a lot of students know the word herd, they think it is a noun. But do remember, it is a noun as well as a verb. Here it has been used as a verb. And there is an error related to that. Outskirts, what does it mean? The outer parts of a town or a city. Question number 2. It was a long wait for the tribals from the morning. Since morning is correct, from the morning, that is also correct, nothing wrong with that expression. For they near and dear, full stop. They even refused to take breakfast and water as all of them were stricken of grief. This is not correct. The actual expression, grief stricken. Grief stricken means what? Extremely sad. So where is the error? The last part there is an error. Stricken of grief is not correct. This is a standard expression, grief stricken. Someone loses a member of family and then we use the expression, he is grief stricken because he lost his brother or sister. E, which option says E? Answer is the first one. There is an error in the last part, E. Pulling away the boat is not difficult if the latest equipment is with us and if the boat has not overturned. Pulling away, that is not correct. It should be pulling out because it talks about the boat and water. The boat capsized, overturned, that means it must have gone down. It sank, it got drowned. Sink, sank. And drown goes with doing something intentionally, putting someone in water and pushing them down. We use the word drown. But boats and all, we use the word sink. So here, pulling away is not correct. Pulling out of the water, pulling out of the lake, pulling out of some place. So there is a problem with the preposition. Pulling away is not correct. Pulling out. So there is an error in the first part. Which option says that? Second option says you deferred. Defer is an important word. Defer means to postpone. You deferred the case many a time. That's an important phrase. Many a time. Further center. If that had not happened, whenever you see the word if, do remember you have to think of conditional sentences. As you know, there are 4 conditional sentences, broadly 3. Present conditionals, past conditional, 0 conditional. But total 4. Present conditionals are 2 in number. Open conditionals, hypothetical conditionals. But here when you see this, if that had not happened, that is in past perfect. When you see past perfect in if clause, obviously it is about past conditional. The main clause, what is the sentence pattern that goes with past conditional? Would plus have plus verb past participle. Here would not, either would or would not, but had is not correct. Would not have been. Here they have used the helping verb to be as the main verb. To be is a helping verb. And what is the past participle of that? Been. Nothing wrong with that in this situation. There is an error when it comes to D, and which option says that? Answer is the fourth option. Would not have been, wouldn't have been. A token amount will be fixed, and the employees can even go abroad by not availing the facility in a couples of years. This is rather easy. In a couple of years, not couples of years. Couple of years, couple of days, and couple of months. We don't say couples of years. That is not at all correct. And there is an error in that D part. Which option says? Third option is the answer. There's one important expression, lump sum. Not one word, 2 separate words. Lump sum means heavy, huge. Question number 86. In a study done by IIT Bombay using a driving simulator last year, it was found that the risk of accidents increasing 3 and 4 times depending upon whether the driver was talking on a phone. Here it is not increasing. The risk of accidents increased 3 and 4 times depending upon whether the driver was talking on a phone. So the word is correct, the form is not correct. And I have said many a time, I usually say that they ask questions related to word forms. The right word, wrong form. Here, accidents increasing 3 and 4 times, not correct. Increased 3 and 4 times. Actually, we say 3 to 4 times, that's a better expression. But increasing is not at all correct. Increased, depending upon whether the driver was talking on the phone. Which option says D? C, there is an error. Answer is the second option. Question number 87. The police said they are flexible to the timing and location of the meeting, whatever is convenient for the Chief Minister. I feel there are 2 errors here. One, the police said. Here, this is related to reported speech or indirect speech. Said, the reporting verb is in past. If the reporting verb is in past, the tense is changed to a corresponding past tense. The actual statement, we are flexible. We changes to they. The police said they. We are changes to were. They said that they were, not are. First error, to the timing and location of the meeting. Whatever is not correct, it should be whichever is convenient for the Chief Minister. The police said they were flexible to the timing and location of the meeting, whichever is convenient for the Chief Minister. Again, I feel it should be was convenient, but perhaps it talks about a present situation. So whatever is not correct, whichever is convenient for the Chief Minister. The approval would increase access to quality higher education and help in minimizing the regional imbalances in the education facilities, beside giving effect to the Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act 2014. Here it is not beside. Beside means what? Next to. Here it should be besides. Besides means what? In addition to. Beside, next to, besides, in addition to. In this context, we have to convey the idea in addition to, giving effect to the Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act 2014. So answer is besides. And one important word here, flexible, ready to change. Opposite, stubborn or adamant. Question number 89. Mr. Mishra argued that the petition wanted the court to prohibit a governor from doing his constitutional duties, which included invitation a person to form a stable government and swearing him into office. Here it is included 2 things. One is swearing him into office. The other one, even this has to be, here it is in ing form, even this has to be in ing form. Included 2 things. One is inviting, not invitation. Inviting a person to form a stable government and swearing him into office. This is what we call parallel expression. And the last question, this time it is no differ. It is no differ, not correct. Generally, conversational English, we say it is no different. Differ is not correct. What is the correct word here? It is no different. Means what? It is not different. It is no different. Capital flows are scuppering. Scuppering actually means to sink. Sink a ship. In this context, the currencies of many emerging market economies. Answer is B, there is an error. The third option is the answer. And here C, which option says C? Fifth option is the answer. That's all about today's paper, and the paper is completely focused on 2 aspects. One is grammar, 10 questions related to spot the errors. But more than that, this paper, there are about 66 important words. Now you can see, I'll spend a few minutes. I will tell what is important, what is not important. Almost all the words are important, but have a look at the words and meanings. Beckon, call someone close to you using your head or gestures. Another word for that, summon. Important word. Reckon, be of the opinion, think. Latent, hidden, concealed. Your talent, latent talent, hidden talent. Spotlight, a lamp that focuses a narrow beam of light. Enigmatic, mysterious, important word. Limelight, someone is in the limelight, something is in the limelight. The focus of public attention. Obscure, not known about. Always think of the combinations. Obscure town, obscure artist, obscure writer, obscure place, important. Ambiguous, not clear, easy word. Perception, a belief or opinion, one of the meanings. Another meaning of perception, the ability to hear, listen, or see. So the basic senses, perception. But in this context, a belief or opinion. Vague, vague means what? Not clear. Strife, an important word, conflict. Hinder, that's also important, block or prevent. Embrace, accept. Ashamed, embarrassed because of one's actions. Embarrassed also means feeling ashamed. These are rather synonyms. Affiliation, being associated with someone or to something. Amend means make changes. Accreditation, being recognized officially. Rectify, correct. Rectify the mistakes, correct the mistakes. Demolish goes with buildings, destroy. Collapse also goes with buildings or concrete structures suddenly fall down. Drastically, severely, or extremely. Remnants, a small piece of something that is left after the major part has been destroyed. Deploy, move into position. Usually it goes with police, soldiers, army. Frugal, sparing, it goes with money. Frugal, we also say thrifty. What is the other word synonym for that? Thrifty. Frugal or thrifty, positive words. Spendthrift, negative. A negative word opposite. Spendthrift. Also, you can say extravagant, lavish. They're all negative words. Distressed, suffering, pain. Concert, musical performance, either vocal or instrumental. Fest, a gathering focusing on a particular activity. In this context, music. Benevolent, kind and helpful. Inimitable, that's an important word. Unique. Maestro, how do you pronounce that word? Maestro, a distinguished performer of classical music. Holistic, regarding a thing as a whole. Regarding a person or a thing as a whole. Endowed, gifted, that's an important word. Legend, one meaning traditional story, another meaning a person very popular in the past and with magical powers. Despair, loss of hope. Wage, noun, a different meaning. As a verb, carry on, wage a war. Outlaw, ban or make illegal. It's a verb as well as a noun. Sustaining, allow to continue. Potential, latent ability. You all have the potential to achieve success. Grasp, understand. Stringent, very strict. It goes with rules, stringent rules. Deter, prevent or discourage. Deterrent is a noun form. Psyche, not psych, psyche. The human soul or spirit. Conscience, not conscience. Conscience, moral sense of right and wrong. Overwhelmed, have a strong emotional effect on someone. I was overwhelmed, a typical expression. Render has many meanings. Give, present, or perform. Sewerage, waste, excrement. Sewage also means the same. Both are synonyms. Willfully, an important word. Deliberately, intentionally. Congestion, crowded and blocked. Intervene, take part in something so as to prevent unpleasant, unwanted consequences. Imperative, crucial, of vital importance. Enclave, a place that is different. In this context, in the city or in the town, there is a place which is rather different, rather unique. We use the word enclave. Convergence, joining together. Concurrence, agreement, important word. Synchronism, simultaneous. Confluence, it goes with reverse, an act of merging or meeting. Perishable, likely to decay, likely to get rotten, likely to get spoiled. Sophisticate, a person who is sophisticated. Sophisticated, civilized, polished, urbanized, urbane, all these words you have to recollect. Reclamation, usually it goes with soil, claiming back. But in this context, renewal, reclamation. Herd, as a noun, group of animals or group of people. As a verb, move in a group or push a group. Outskirts, outer parts of a town or city. Grief-stricken, extremely sad. Deferred, postponed. Lump sum, large. Lump sum amount, large amount. Flexible, ready to change. Scuppering, sink deliberately. That goes with a ship. That's all from today's mock test paper. There's a lot to learn. Hope you guys have enjoyed the session, got enriched. What is more important here? It is not the enjoyment. It is enrichment that matters when it comes to success or getting selected. Thank you very much.